Yo, what's going on out there, people? As for myself, cruising down 24 westbound here in Tennessee. We're in Nashville? What? I was wondering what town I was in here. I did not think it was Nashville, not at all. So I guess we get the we get the roll right through there. I thought we were about to come out into the opening or whatever, but not so much. Just headed right into it. All right, that is not the topic of the video here, but little aside. Something nice and strange at the same time has been happening lately. I don't know how to say it without sounding weird or whatever, but I have pulled myself out of the burnout that I was feeling for the past, it's been like four months, maybe longer than that. That's how long that I've been feeling like, I don't know, like not the greatest, like this is not the greatest job of all time or whatever like that. I don't know. I wouldn't say it like that either, but all right, relax, buddy. But for a little while, it was like I did not have the most positive view on waking up and doing this every day. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want to go get a real job. So here's where we stay, and obviously I consider this to be the best path for an individual my age and with the credentials or lack of credentials. I think this is the best spot for me to be in, so stuck around. And a younger me would not have done this. A younger me would have been like, I don't know, like, it's good money, but is it worth it? And this and that and the other thing. I guess, and I'm going to put this in big old quotation marks, a more mature me just was like, you know what, I need to figure out how to make myself, or, well, not make myself, but I figure out how to get back to enjoying what I did again. And, you know, I mean, y'all understand how I think. And I am a self-examiner to the death. I will run myself into the ground looking at myself like, why are you feeling this way? Why do you think you need to do that? Is it really important that you do that? All that stuff. So I was like, you know, what was it? What was it that made me happy or whatever? And this is going to have multiple little, what do you want to call it? I guess tangents or whatever, points, whatever you want to go with. And I figured out that the number one thing that I used to like about this so much was that it was an adventure. Like every single day was an absolute adventure. And, you know, I have obviously lost a bit of that sense of adventure. You know, I kind of understand the United States of America, well, at least east of the Mississippi. I understand what the heck is going on very well. Like, you know, I don't know it all, but I understand which parts I like, which parts are boring, which interstates run through where, you know, which towns suck, all this stuff, which towns are really cool to look at and traffic's not that bad, all that good stuff. Nashville fits in there. Real cool town to look at, and drivers they're all right. They're not too bad. Nashville's got to work on their drivers a little bit, but it ain't that bad. But yeah, that sense of adventure, that was something I needed to get back. And what I realized was I was not paying attention to, like, my surroundings as I used to. Like how I used to do it, I used to just, and I mean, I still, to this day, do, you know, stuff like this. I'll throw on a documentary and listen to it, you know, music, podcasts, just, you know, anything to sort of get your gears turning a little bit. And that's kind of the way that I always did it. But at a certain point, I started paying more attention to that than, you know, what was going on around me. And I'd like just get in my head and that was it. I wouldn't be, you know, looking at like what we're going through right now, like how we got all these, like how we're cutting like straight through this mountain or whatever, or not mountain, it's a hill, but, and all the, you know, all the bridges, all that good stuff, that graffiti stuff up ahead. You know, I just like to look at all of it and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. But after a while, it was like, nah, I'm not going to pay attention anymore, or whatever. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I know exactly where I need to be at right now. I understand where we're at. I'm going to need that right lane. I don't know if it's all the way right lane, but something like that. And that's kind of what I'm talking about with the, I've gotten to understand the United States landscape pretty dang well, as I don't know everything, and sometimes it's like, I don't exactly know where I'm going right now. But most of the time, it's like, oh, I've been here before. Like, I can kind of remember a little bit coming through this part and being like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be, and then you figure it out and you kind of remember. But so part of it was that adventure situation where it was like every night I'm camping out in the truck. That's what I used to say to people, is I'm like, I'm getting paid to camp here. Like, what more do you want out of life? I'm getting paid to camp and go see, you know, all this junk that none of you little office turds are ever going to see in your lives. You're going to, you know, go down to Florida for, you know, the winter trip or the summer trip or whatever you're doing. Like, you get your 2 weeks off and that's it. That's my life every day of the week. Like, that used to be my mindset. And it, you know, slowly went away, and I worked on getting that back to where it was, where I'm, you know, looking at the city that's right in front of me here, Nashville. And it's like, oh, like, look at all these dang cool buildings, and check out that bridge, and oh, we're about to hang a Roger, and I believe we're going past like a river or something like that. But yeah, I didn't need all the way right lane. But the other thing about that was my attitude. And this is something that most people probably would not be able to admit to themselves or whatever, but I mean, that's just kind of what it seems like, because people don't like to think about themselves very much. Oh, that looks like a fun bump. Here we go. Oh, just kidding. That was anticlimactic. I saw that truck up in front of me bouncing good, and I thought I was going to get nailed. Dang, Nashville's pretty. Anyways. But yeah, it was partly my attitude too. And this is sort of why I had to put the mature thing in quotations, because I gotta be real careful here. I don't really look like a man or anything. I still kind of do look like a child. I mean, a lady last night, I went in to get my fuel receipt, and she was like, you look about 19 years old. Like, are you sure you're old enough to drive truck? And I've gotten that for the past year and some change. So it's like, yeah, I'm 22, yada, yada, yada. I just need my thingy out of you, and I'm out of here. Like, I don't need to be getting all caught up in here. But that's a weird-looking truck. And that's the other thing, is, like, just looking at, like, stuff that you're passing by and like admiring trucks and becoming like a little bit of a geek about certain trucks and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just those little things that have helped me out to keep a good attitude. And that's where we were before we went on that tangent there. The attitude thing. The attitude thing was probably the number one thing that I think was the issue. And it was that I was, dang, this fool's got spinners on his car. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I guess, I don't know. I suppose Nashville, sort of a, I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll get over it. Yeah, the attitude thing. And I put the mature thing in quotations before. Yeah, we're getting back on track here. I put the mature thing in quotations before, specifically because I'm still a bit of a child when it comes to how what are we doing here? This is not good. Actually, I think I want to stay here. Yeah, my attitude had gotten all too serious, and I was like, yeah, I'm a dang cowboy, truck driver. I roll into town, and I ain't sticking around too long. This and that and the other thing, you know what I mean? Like, just taking it way too seriously. And what I realized was, that's weird. But what I realized was that one of the things that made it fun was that I was just being who I really was at heart, you know what I mean? Like, not really caring about, the image of what a truck driver is supposed to be, or whatever you want to call it. Like, not trying to be like Billy Big Rig or hard ass dude up here, like, none of that. I don't know. I just found myself goofing out a little more, being happier about it, and I noticed, like, this was one of the things that really, I don't know how I noticed this or why it mattered to me at all, but I noticed that a lot of times my eyes were like scrunched up, like I was mad or something. And I mean, to most people this means nothing. This means like, oh, you're just squinting, or like you're a little frustrated or whatever. But to me, it's like, oh boy, we're gonna need to jump over in that left lane. That's not good. Okay, I'm gonna blow your doors off real quick. Possibly get out in front of you. I don't mean to be that guy, but I might just have to be. Now, where in the world was I? This was probably the worst place to start this video. I thought that we were gonna jump onto this interchange back there, and then it was all gonna be smooth sailing. And I guess that's not where we're at. Oh, great. But yeah, my attitude was very important, and how I was talking about scrunching up my eyes and all that, like I was mad or something. I think that it's, and this is just a theory, but I feel like your general expression has an effect on your mood or attitude, whatever, yada yada yada. Hold on a second here. I mean, that's just how I feel about it, is that it has an effect on how you're thinking, and like if you're, like how susceptible you are to being a frustrated person. Just for no dang reason at all, you're just frustrated. And that was, like, I noticed that I just had a natural scrunch about my dang eyes. And I said before, this is something that would mean nothing to normal people. But I am not, what are we doing? Okay, never mind. I am not really the most normal dang person in the entire world. I think we gotta get out of this lane? No, I don't think so. Okay. But yeah, that was another thing, is I started to like, and you know how people say, like, if you want to be happy, just start smiling? And you're like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, get out of my face with that. That doesn't even make any sense. It kind of worked for me a little bit. Like, a combination of all this junk helped me out a little bit, and like the overall combination of that led to more of a, I don't want to say like a more satisfaction out of my job or whatever. It's kind of a messy sentence, but and maybe I'm not saying it right, whatever, but I don't know if it was that. Like, I don't exactly know how to explain it properly, but just in general, a better mood about what I was doing every day. Because I mean, if you think about it, you're just kind of cruising around and like doing a little thingy thing here and there, and a little thingy thing over there. I mean, it's not the most complicated thing in the world, so you got to find the joy somewhere. weird looking bus. Well, not weird looking, but I don't know. I think Greyhounds are, and that'd be a strange job to have. That'd be a really weird job to have, is be a Greyhound bus driver. It'd be real strange. Beside the point. Another thing that I noticed is that if I, and this is something that I have not brought up for a while, and I think at some point this next week I'm going to roll over 100,000 miles in this truck, which sounds like a dang lot, and it is. And I'm pretty sure that I did 100,000 miles in way under a year, because I'm pretty sure I got this truck when it was kind of cold. I remember they told me like I could switch out my trucks inside so I didn't have to like do it in the cold or whatever. And I'm about to roll 100,000 miles in the summer, so apparently I'm tearing it up or something. I don't know. We don't need to read into that too far. But the thing about this truck that when I first got into it, I knew it was going to be an issue. I had, like, let's talk about my other truck, the Cascadia. If you go far enough back, you will find the videos from my Cascadia that I drove, and eventually it miled out and I had to get a different truck, and like that's just the way of the world. And I knew that it was pretty likely that I was going to end up getting a truck with some gizmos and gadgets on it, which are not a good thing if you ask me. And that was how I felt about it before I even had it. I was like, nah, I like having a truck that doesn't have a camera in it and it doesn't have any lane detectors in it. Because, like, I don't know what it was about it. The Cascadia that I had before that, I've had 3 trucks total. The first Cascadia that I drove was an automatic and it had lane detectors. I hated the dang lane detectors, and the automatic, it left something to be desired. Like, you know, when you think about driving a truck, you think like, oh yeah, I'm going to be jamming gears and all this and that. And the automatic kind of took away from that, and the lane detectors just made you feel like a bit of a toddler, and I did not like that. And now this truck that I've got, or the Cascadia that I had after that had nothing, and it was a manual. And I was like, yeah, well, this is what I'm talking about right here, boy. And it rolled that thing for 70,000? No, not 70,000 miles. Can't be. It'll go 50 to 70,000 miles. It was somewhere in there. I had the truck for like 5 to 8 months. I don't even know. And like that was, for whatever reason, like a very surreal point of my trucking career, because like everything was still new. And I had a truck that was, you know, pretty dang close to, you know, what you would consider traditional trucking, or I don't know how to explain this properly, where it was just like, yeah, you're free to do as you please, basically, while you're out here, and like no one's watching you, and you're not being babysat. Like that's how I felt about it. And then I got in this truck, and now they got a baby monitor on me, boy. They got they got like crib detectors and shit. Like you get outside the line a little bit and get a bzz, like it's not an electric shock in your chair. I think that's like inhumane or something. Like there's got to be some law against that, but they came very close, and they got like 2 speakers on either side of the truck, and if you would hit the side of a lane, one of those speakers would put off like a buzzing noise, and it was loud and it was annoying. And I figured out through other drivers how to make that go away, and that was a glorious day, because like it would go off at any given time. And you had to be like smack dab in the middle of the lane. Like you see where I'm at right now in the lane. Like right now you're good, You switch to right here, and it's going off. Like, it was too babysitter-ish for me. I could not do it. So, did the logical fix on it, figured it out from another driver that I'd come in contact with, and now recently I have realized that they have also turned off the inward-facing camera on my truck, which, I mean, I believe if you go back to the video where I was talking about getting this truck, I was like, you know what, I don't really have a problem with a camera facing outward. Like, you know, it's going to show what's going on around you, and basically, you know, if you were doing the right thing and if they were just completely batshooting crazy, you know what I mean? Like, we're trying to stay PG here, but you know what I'm saying. If they were absolutely crazy and they just ran into you, and I was like, you don't really need that inward-facing camera, but at the same time, I was like, you know what, I understand why it's there, because they want to see if you were, you know, reaching around in the truck looking for something, grabbing a water out of the cooler at the time, and it was not a great time to be doing that. Like, they want to know all that stuff. So it made sense to me why they did it. And they did tell us that, you know, if you were a good little boy, we would turn it off. And they did that. And so I covered it up because they ain't using it anymore. So I'm going to be completely certain that they aren't using it anymore. We covered the dang thing up. And now I basically have my Cascadia back, essentially, as far as electronics are concerned. So all of that stuff combined into one has turned my general mood around. Oh, we gotta be, oh wait, no, this is gonna end, isn't it? Yeah, probably. We're going uphill. I'm just debating about that right-hand lane there, if that was gonna end or if I had to get into it, but yeah, all that stuff combined into one all helped to adjust my mood about how I was feeling about what I was doing and all that good stuff. And nowadays, I feel that I have better control over that. I can feel when, you know, this weird mood junk, I'm going to need that link, god dang it. I can feel when that weird mood is coming on, and I completely understand, like, what's causing it now. Like, oh, I've been, you know, listening to people talk too much, and now I need to go listen to some music, or the music's just been on too long, I can't do it anymore, you know, I need to hear something interesting. I don't know, I feel like I'm beginning to understand myself a little bit better, you know what I'm saying, boy? I don't know. So yeah, I guess, I don't know what the takeaway is from this. Self-examination is very important, I think. And I guess I've always thought that. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the answer to everyone's problems, is themselves. Everyone thinks that it's always, you know, you hear it from drivers all the time. It's like, oh, well, you know, they don't do this, they don't do that. And, you know, if they would just do this and they would just do that, well, you know, it might be a little bit your fault. And I mean, some of this stuff, not so much. Like, oh, they aren't giving me, you know, enough miles, and I'm willing to run a bunch, and it's like, oh, well, that's a conversation you got to have with your dispatcher and all that stuff. Maybe they can get it sorted out. They're not getting me home when I want to be home. Well, that's a conversation you got to have with your dispatcher, and, you know, maybe they can't do anything for you, all that good stuff. I don't know. This is just how I think about the world, I guess. So, yeah, I'm going to let y'all loose. And how long has it been? Oh, my God. If you made it to the 25-minute mark here, you're a straight savage. I can't believe it. But, yeah, I'm going to let y'all loose at the 25-minute mark here. That was a little too much talking. All right, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.